Please sit down. Thanks. We've had big bills in terms of groups already this morning, but these two bills are probably as important as any that we'll have before us, certainly today and during this whole session. 2251 increases the Hula multifamily revenue bond authorization from $750 million to $1 billion. Now, those are numbers that they're huge, no question about it, but in some respects we're almost immune to it these days. We hear billions and trillions, and there's ideas talk about deficits and investments, multi-million dollars and so on. So there's a tendency almost to shut down a bit when we hear the numbers because they're beyond our grasp. And yet this bond authorization is actually absolutely fundamental and essential to what our plans are with regard to housing, particularly rental housing in Hawaii. It's no secret by any stretch of the imagination that our supply is running far behind demand. One may recall, I certainly do, that one of the incentives I had when I was in the Congress to push forward with the idea of the public-private ventures for military housing was that we were essentially cash financing housing out of the Congress for military families in the wake of the ending of the draft. We were recruiting individuals and retaining families in the armed forces of the United States, and family housing was woefully lagging behind because the Congress was essentially going project by project, year by year, funding housing projects by segments, and then not putting forward anything by way of operational funds or maintenance funds, leaving the various bases to struggle for those operating and maintenance funds to be able to continue such housing as was able to be built. So the result of that is that military families and civilian families were competing in a restricted area for the same non-existent rental housing. So that compounded the problem here, particularly on Oahu, with regard to rental housing not only being unavailable but being very dear. And it was a disincentive to landlords to invest in upgrading their facilities, and certainly a disincentive in terms of those willing or able to build rental housing. The obstacles were very, very large. So what happens here with this is that we are able to transpose what is a challenge and a difficulty into a challenge that is achievable. And by moving the bond authorization, particularly in the light of the circumstances of the recovery of the state, you may all recall that I had a plan when I came in. You have to have a plan. You have to stick with the plan. And part of the plan was to see to it that we got affordable rates, that we were able to take advantage of the interest rates and be able to attract public and private investment, and that we're able to take the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation, whose task it is to see to it that we reduce and, of course, ultimately eliminate this disparity between the demand for rental housing and the supply. This multifamily program, working very closely with the federal government, will provide us with rental projects, almost 3,000 units. 3,000 units, badly needed, for both development of new and rehabilitation of existing rental units as well. This increase in authorizations ensures that the Housing Finance Corporation will be able to continue to work with developers to build affordable rental housing, to make maximum use of our tax credits, make maximum use of the interest rates that can only go higher in time to come. Some people are interested, express some interest in why am I pursuing, not only in the housing area, but in all areas, pushing as hard as I am to get these construction projects underway. Take something, I'll give you a parallel, the H1 freeway here on Oahu right now. Why in an election year would you subject people? I'm looking at Karen right now because she has to drive in this right now. Carl's a little immune from it at the moment. Why would you do that? Why would you rebuild a highway, not repave it? Why would you rebuild and put in a multi-million dollar construction project on the principal artery through the principally populated island, on the principally populated side of the island, on the leeward side? Because the interest rates will never be lower. We have to make the commitment now. And in making the commitment, it puts jobs out there, it puts revenue back into the general fund as a result of the job and the taxes that are being paid by the construction companies and paving companies and the engineering and design companies, the companies that are receiving the subcontracts, and it takes advantage of the interest rates as they are now. Any uptick, which is bound to come soon from the Federal Reserve policies, is tens of millions of dollars more in indebtedness that we have to assume. I'm going on at this length because I want to congratulate the legislators on these two bills, because it works in concert with the plan that we put forward 3.5 years ago to see to it that we would be on the road to recovery and to take full advantage of the stability of the financial status of the state at this time in order to maximize the utilization there, maximize the credits. Let me give you some of the recent projects that this has succeeded in dealing with. Halakuela Place, 204 family units right now. Stanford is here right now. I've been there. The people, you go down there. I ask anybody to go down there. People will weep because of the beautiful opportunity that they now have, the rental housing. Ko'ola'ula Phase 1 out in Eva Beach, 120 family units. I've been out there. And the senior residence in Evilay, 160 units in Evilay right now. So we now have, and the Housing Finance Corporation will be happy to delineate for you what it is now that we'll be able to move forward on. As I say, almost 3,000 units. And this is in conjunction then with 2542, the Conveyance Tax Collections, the Rental Housing Trust Fund. Now what the Rental Housing Trust Fund does, and I realize a lot of people in the room already know this, but for the record and for those who may be here for one bill and not another, this provides the equity gap in low-interest loans to qualified owners and developers for constructing affordable units. There have been 4,500 units created already with the assistance of the fund. Now, a portion of the conveyance tax goes into the fund. It's the only dedicated source of funding that the Development Corporation has. Act 100 in 2006 raised the disposition of these funds, the conveyance tax, to 50%. As a result of the recession, the amount of funding was cut back to 30 and even for a while 25%. Now, I don't want to rehash the reasons for that. That wasn't my plan. It wasn't something that I was responsible for. But this administration thinks that we needed to up the conveyance tax and the money available in the trust fund, because I see that as a way of creating jobs and creating housing and creating opportunity. That's an investment possibility, and the higher the fund, the more we can do. So the state's now in a financial position, I can assure you, to restore that distribution to 50%. These legislators recognized that and made that a priority, and I'm very, very grateful, and the people of the state will be grateful for that. This strengthens a powerful and well-utilized tool to be able to get affordable housing development, and particularly where rentals are concerned in the state. I couldn't be more pleased to have the opportunity to sign these bills today. And I can assure you that the moment these bills are signed, that the Housing Finance Development Corporation, the folks who can build the units that the corporation can facilitate, and those who will have the opportunity to live in them, to build them and to live in them, will be the beneficiaries, the direct beneficiaries. And with these signatures, I assure you, we'll get moving right away. I'd like to invite Karen and Carl, if you would come up to take the first part. We have people who are in construction here in the finance, our housing, homeless housing coordinator, and other folks who have expressed interest in rental housing, and we'll take pictures with everybody as appropriate. But right now, I want to give the opportunity for these two bills to be witnessed by the legislators who helped to make it possible. First, I'll sign the Housing Loan and Mortgage Program Bill 2251. Almost wrote 2251 in there. I'm that excited about doing this. And now the Conveyance Tax Collections of the Rental Housing Trust Fund. Done. Now we'll, oh, don't leave. We're going to take some pictures first. Let me. Very, very good. And why don't you guys grab one bill each, and we'll kind of take a holy picture here together. How's that? Okay.
Take half a step
to the left.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, 1, 2, 3.